We're going to start very quickly with Matt DeBerry. Matt, how good are some of these freshmen? And then straight on to Ryan.
Oh man, I've started to hear a lot about him. I mean, we could start with Lawson Lucky, 3 touchdown catches, in the spring game. Damon Wilson, hearing a lot of great things about him as an edge rusher off the edge. Raylan Wilson could be the next great middle linebacker at Georgia. He's going to do big things with Glenn Schumann. Monroe Freeling at tackle, I think, could be a multi-year starter down the road. Roderick Robinson, I had a source who watched the practice last weekend. He goes, dude, that freshman they got out of California, that running back, he is big. He is a bruiser. He's going to break a lot of tackles. The more I dig into this, and I said this, I thought it was Kirby's probably best class that he signed on the defensive side of the ball. Can't really say that, in total because they didn't sign a quarterback. But defensively, they brought in some big-time players and guys who I think could be more first-round picks in the NFL when the time comes. But, yeah, C.J. Allen is a guy who did really well on the scout team preparing for TCU. And they, a lot of these guys came on board early, and Kirby mentioned that after the scrimmage. It's great to have those mid-year guys come in to see what they can do. And a lot of these guys are really, really impressing, Ryan.
Yeah, well, they're just some of them are just going to have to play. I mean, there's positions, especially in the spring, like Roger Robinson's getting his opportunity just because of how thin the running back room is for spring practice, right? He's their second scholarship guy that's practicing in full. The outside linebacker position, I think you're going to see freshmen on the field a lot just because that's their least experienced group. I mean, you have the second oldest guy there is Marvin Jones Jr., and he's not playing this spring. So you've got the freshman Gabe Harris and Pemba. Those guys are just going to be on the field partially because they have to be. So I think that this is, I mean, kind of by default, it will be an impact class where you go back and look and see that they were on the field a lot. I've heard that those inside linebackers are really good. Raylan Wilson, freaky. I mean, that's kind of what I was told. But
he's young too.
Yeah. He's what?
He's young for his class. I mean, he could have been a 24 guy. Was barely, in that group as the 23. He might be the youngest overall player in that group, but they knew that there was playing time available as far as the edge outside linebacker types that you're talking about, Ryan. But these guys are going to be household names for Georgia fans a lot sooner than later.
Hey, real quick, I just got an order in for the books. I wanted to make sure people are remembering that we do still have Double Dogs and Dog Structure downstairs, down below. If you want the Stetson Bennett edition, that's down there as well. I failed to mention that in the last video that we recorded. I'm too busy watching everybody on the Masters spray the ball everywhere. Well, Ryan, I think you were talking about Harris with us privately after a practice. Was it Harris that you were talking about? Can you remember? You were saying you couldn't figure out the numbers, that you had not gotten the numbers at that point. Can you remember who that person was that was a freshman?
He was 26 and 29 we were talking about. Which
was that Harris?
I think.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Somewhere.
Now I've caught you off guard. Tell us about Harris, Matt, and while Ryan gets together a couple of things.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Really athletic. I saw him, I believe it was like a sophomore year in high school at Under Armour camp. He was just doing backflips, like standing backflips. He had the length, 6'5", about 250. So he's got the muscular frame, just really, really athletic coming off the outside. Played, was at Thomas County Central, then was at Valdosta, was ruled ineligible, had to go down to IMG Academy. So, he's been practicing with a lot of guys who are playing college football right now. So he knows how to work. He knows how to compete. And I think the staff is really high on him. I think he was a consensus top 100 player towards the bottom of that 100. But a guy who already looks the part. And I think Ryan can allude to that too, seeing him in practice. But he's a really good athlete who also can get after the quarterback. All three guys they signed on that, from that edge position know how to shed blocks. They're quick off the ball, and they know how to attack the quarterback. He's another guy with a great motor too. So I don't know which guy is going to have the highest career. Maybe it's the highest ranked guy in Damon Wilson, who I hear a lot about behind the scenes. Gabe Harris is someone I think the staff is really excited about as well.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, because Wilson, it was Gabe Harris.
That's what I thought.
Huge, man. The dude, and then the guy in that room that I kind of forget about is Darius Smith, but who's what?
Well,
6'6"?
we don't. Yeah, he's not a newcomer, and that's
no, but it's a young room. But those guys,
It is a young
and they're
room.
huge. Like Chaz Chambliss is the smallest guy. It's obvious when you're looking at all of them. It's like, wow, like
You're talking
he's
about this
tall.
Darius Smith right here, right? Trying to
Yeah.
block that ball. Yeah, he's going to get a chance. You did. Which of you was with me the night we watched Smith play? Appling playing
Ryan.
Cedar Grove was right there. Yeah, I liked him, man. I mean, I think he's slender, but I liked him a lot. But the problem at this program is, y'all, that you have to really be super duper special to play a lot as a freshman. And we saw who last year? Marvin Jones, who played a lot. Marvin Jones, Bear did at the end of the season. I'm trying to think.
Jalen Walker played a lot at
Jalen Walker
linebacker.
did play a lot. Marvin Jones.
There was
I
obviously
mean,
Malachi and Michael
Malachi
Williams.
Stokes and Michael,
Malachi, I don't know how I forget about Malachi all the
him
time.
and Michael Williams played the most out of
And
all the freshmen.
Williams, yeah. And so those four guys are going to play a lot coming back. On the offensive side of the ball, I mean, Lucky for sure is going to play a fair amount. He's not going to be a star at the beginning here, but that offensive line group is not bad, Matt. They really aren't, and they're definitely not going to play a ton. Matt's a little bit in the pixelated zone. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, they're going to provide depth and guys who are going to still need to develop for a couple years. But if you're going to play on the offensive line at Georgia, you better be really, really good. That's not a place where you can come in and play early. Because as we've seen, they've got guys sitting on the bench who have been in the program for 3-4 years now, still waiting their turn. So if you want to play offensive line at Georgia, you have to know that you're going to have to sit for a little bit, learn, develop. I think Ernest Green is so good at PNs playing. That just shows how good he is in his second year, his starting job. And I think he's pushing Austin Blasky for that left. We'll see if they move Amarius over to left tackle, but a lot of options. But Monroe Freeling, just height, length, really good athlete. I think he was the highest ranked offensive lineman in that class. I think he has the potential to be a multi-year starter at tackle, but the other guys are probably going to have to sit and wait a little bit.
Yeah. But it's a good group, and if they're standing out now, Ryan, when you go to practice, was it that you saw Harris at practice and you didn't know who it was, or describe? You didn't recognize the number.
Oh no, I mean, I had to figure out some of those numbers just so I could talk about them,
Right.
just so I knew who I was watching. But kind of transitioning to that offensive line, I think the fact that they're, I don't know if they have it figured out at the tackles, but that's good for depth, right? And what we've seen in the last couple of years where they can just rotate. I think you're going to watch Ernest Green, and I think they're both going to be out there. I think Mims is definitely going to be out there. But
Mims
that's what
definitely
we've
gonna be out
seen.
there.
They're going to prepare those guys for the future when it's their turn. You saw them rotate at the guard spots too. I don't know that they do that as much, maybe in blowouts, but I think you're certainly going to see both Blasky and Green thrown out there at left tackle early on in the season.
But they didn't rotate at linebacker hardly at all, like inside linebacker last year.
Because you got your guys, man.
No, I get it. But I mean, you got Walker and Matt. You think some of the linebackers that are younger can be really, really good?
Really, really good. Is he back? He played a good bit last year. Number 0, middle linebacker. Played a lot
Ryan Davis.
Tennessee game.
Yeah, you dropped out for a second there.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, so he's another guy who. Yeah, he's been around a while, but Raylan Wilson is going to be very good. Troy Bowles, his father was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, still might be, but he's a guy who knows what he's doing, instinctual, can cover. He's not on the team yet. He's going to get there in the summer, but he's another inside linebacker who I think has the potential to have a really good season. But C.J. Allen is an absolute thumper from Barnes County, was a big-time running back there, played both ways, just a big-time competitor, physical guy who looks the part already, plenty of muscle on him.
What about DB?
A.J. Harris, I think, is learning a lot. I think he's be a little bit here and there, but fresh DBs, you're going to just have to keep working at it. But he has a lot of potential. Chris Peel will get there in the summer. They like him a lot. A lot of young, hungry talent back there. They're going to be perfectly fine in the secondary for years to come, I think. They got Ryan's guy, Dalen Everett, who I think could have a breakout year if he wins that opposite cornerback job. So a lot of really young, talented players back there.
Ryan, final word there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that opposite side of Kamari Lassiter has been decided quite yet. I don't think it's necessarily going to be. I think it could be Dalen Everett. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell from what I've seen the last few weeks, just kind of the bits and pieces. I've seen Dalen Everett get beat a few times, kind of more than some of those other guys. But I think they have choices. They have depth everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's no place where it's like you don't have at least one choice of a really talented player, and that they've built that over time to where should win all those games this year, right? Because these guys are just as good as the ones who left. So, but I think that a lot of young guys played a lot last year and made an impact. Brock Bowers was a young guy, right? He was it's just not going to stop. It's not going to stop if they keep going like this. I think a lot of these people will be impact players.
All right. Thanks for watching, y'all.